Hello everybody, I'm Trisha here in the Newegg Studio, and I am so excited. I'm joined today by Jackson, better known as Bajheera. Welcome, Jackson.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming all the way to our studio.
Oh man, I'm right at home with all the Corsair and Elgato stuff over there.
I know, right? So we'll get into that in just a second,
Right.
but for those at home watching who don't already know you, can you tell us a little bit about your gaming life and your career?
Sure, so basically what I do nowadays is a combination of games and gains, as I call it. So a lot of the content creation that I do on Twitch and YouTube is based on gaming and fitness. So World of Warcraft is my main game. I've been playing that for, I don't know, past 10 years or so.
Yeah.
And then, you know, with how much you can do on Twitch nowadays, I've been able to also incorporate, you know, live training. So, you know, I do bodybuilding competitively. I'm actually a pro natural bodybuilder as of 2018. That's pretty cool.
Congratulations.
Thanks. Yeah, it's like, okay, that's new, interesting. We'll throw that on the accolades list and keep doing our thing, I guess. But yeah, so I do my training streams are usually in the morning in my home gym, and then we'll take a break, hang out with our newborn baby boy, Archer, and then we'll get back on the stream for some World of Warcraft later in the evening, and that's the combination that we're working with right now. It's pretty fun.
Well, it seems like you've been able to take the things that you're passionate about and make that your career, which is always awesome.
Just extraordinarily lucky, that's for sure.
Yeah, so talk to me more about these fitness streams.
Right.
How do you go about filming that? Is it something where, like, when you were bodybuilding for the championship in 2018, did you chronicle your training on your live stream?
Yeah, so my setup is, from a broadcast perspective, pretty simple. I have a computer and I have a webcam, and then I have the whole gym that I have too. I have like a squat rack that you can do bench press in, and I have like a cable machine, and I have dumbbells. So pretty much everything I need to train is all there, and then we just have one webcam to capture it all. But yeah, I did all of my training that involved training twice a day, once in the morning, once in the evening for about 2 hours each time. Did that for, I don't know, like 8 months, and that was all on stream. So, you know, the entire road to pro, as it were, was broadcasted live, and I had all my people there supporting me. You know, every training session, even when we're tired, you know, wake up in the morning cranky, you know, trying to end the stream after, you know, a long day of gaming and whatnot. You know, my people are there with me for the late night sessions too. So that was awesome. It was like a whole lot of support that really powered us to doing some pretty cool stuff that year.
And do you frame that content as a more like instructional, this is how to work out, or is it more of a slice of life, you can just kind of watch me while I do my thing?
I think that there's definitely like an instructional component to it. I mean, we're doing Q&A constantly about, you know, my goals are to lose fat, how do I do that? My goals are to gain muscle, how to do that? What's your favorite chest exercise? And so there's a lot of like back and forth that's probably instructional, but really I'm just there to train. So I'm there to work out and actually get my workout done, but there's a lot of information that gets exchanged as well, so that's cool.
So it's interesting because I feel like this balance between instruction versus slice of life is kind of what you get in the gaming world as well. Because if you're a competitive player, then people are watching you to get better, but also they're just watching you do your thing at the same time. So you actually do compete. Do you consider yourself more of an esports player or a streamer at this point in your career?
I've played in tournaments, and I've you know, hosted and casted like the World of Warcraft Arena World Championships leading up to BlizzCon, and so that was a lot of fun. But always I consider myself much more of a content creator than necessarily a competitor. I do like to play at a high level. You know, anything that I do, I am fairly competitive. So whenever I'm doing something and spending a lot of time doing it, I want to get better at it, and I want to see, I want to test myself against other people. The focus for me has always been about sharing my experience, whether it's gaming or fitness. But fortunately, like I was talking about fitness, people do seem to draw some lessons from that and some inspiration from that. And if I can be helpful while sharing my journey, that's exactly what I'm looking to do.
It's fascinating to talk to people who maybe don't know this world as well, that kind of think if you're a professional gamer, being a competitor in the esports world or being a streamer are kind of the same job, but they're actually very different. Could you kind of go into some of the differences there? Yeah,
I think one of the main ways that I describe it is like, what do I do? What puts food on the table for my family, right? I don't have to stress about going and winning tournaments because what I'm trying to do is create good content that people enjoy every day. I think that being like a exceptionally successful and skilled like tournament player can be very good for your stream, right? People are like, yo, this guy's like the best. I want to go watch his content. I want to go learn from this dude. But for me, it's like, I mean, I can have a stream where we just go run around and farm transmog if I want to on WoW, and that's gonna probably be a fine stream. I don't have to stress about going and winning tournaments as a means of making a living, because what I do is log into my stream, have fun interacting with my community every day, and having that be kind of what drives the content for, you know, the future. Yeah, to me the focus comes down to, is your primary focus on entertainment or is your primary focus on competition? Right. And that's a little bit what differentiates those things. We recently did a video here at Newegg giving people advice for building an audience and improving the overall quality of your stream.
What can you share as your expert perspective on that? Like, what are your pro tips that you would give people for building an audience and upping your stream?
Right. So, I mean, I've been able, fortunately, to do this for about 10 years now. I've been doing YouTube for almost 10 years, Twitch for about 9. So I've been able to stick around for a long time. Definitely not the biggest on Twitch or on YouTube or anything like that, but what's been cool is I've been able to do it for a living. Yeah. And as the needs of my family expand, we've been able to meet those demands with the job that I do. So that's the dream.
Awesome.
And I think for me, the main thing is there's a lot of different components to it. I think that when we talk about it on stream, when people ask me this question, are at the base of it all, it's not the only thing that's required, but at the core of it all, you have to be passionate. You have to love it. If you're starting your stream out and you're starting your content creation journey out or your social media journey out, and the first thing on your mind is, I gotta hit these numbers, I think it's really easy to be disappointed that way. And it's also really easy once you are disappointed and once you get discouraged to fall off. But if you do it for fun, you do it because you love it, you do it because you're creating content that you enjoy and hopefully other people do as well, I think you're on the right track. And that's at least how I started my journey. There's a lot of different strategies, and I should definitely preface with that. There's a lot of different strategies for success on social media and on YouTube and on Twitch, but for me, the core of it all is passion, consistency, and creativity, and being yourself, and finding out what it is that's special about you, what it is that you sort of bring to the table, and finding a creative way to share that with people who are interested. And that's kind of been the perspective for me, is that I create content that I like. I create the kind of content that I enjoy. And if it resonates with somebody and they want to stick around and enjoy the content, fantastic. Glad to have you here. If it doesn't stick, if it's not your style, no worries.
Yeah, you're not switching the focus of your stream to Fortnite or Apex Legends because that's what's hot right now.
No.
When certain business experts might tell you that that's the best way to increase your numbers, but I agree with you wholeheartedly. You have to be true to you, because if you're doing something that you don't think is fun, then when it's not meeting your success metrics, you're gonna burn out.
Yeah, and I will definitely try new games when they come out for fun. But the reason I've stuck with WoW for as long as I have is because it's my favorite game. I love it.
It's really fun.
And I'll tell you, I didn't start working out on Twitch as a means of like, whoa, this is gonna be the new big thing. I do it because I love it. So, you know, not everybody's interested in some big sweaty nerd lifting weights all the time, but some people are. That's fun. So,
but it's what you love.
Exactly, and that's my community, man. Some people hang out for whatever, and that's awesome.
That's perfect. Okay, so let's get into the actual gear that you use to play and to stream. Corsair is one of your sponsors.
They're the best.
So what Corsair gear do you currently use in your setup?
We actually have a lot of it right here, which is really cool. So,
funny how that happens here in Newegg.
My original keyboard that I got from Corsair, when we were just in like discussion of like, hey, we'd like to work together. I'd be like, okay, let me see what you got. Send me some product and we'll test it out and see if it's a fit. They sent me a K70, fell in love instantly, and that's the original keyboard that they sent me is still the one that I use. So
that's awesome.
And it probably isn't the best for trying out all the new awesome equipment that they make, but how it works is it's like, for me, if something still works, then I still use it. And so Corsair products never have any problems with them, so I still end up using the original stuff that they sent me from many years ago, including like the original Scimitar. Transitioning over, my baby. The Corsair Scimitar. This is a Scimitar Pro, by the way.
I have to tell everybody at home, this Scimitar was on this side of the table before we started filming.
Bring that over.
Jackson was like, no, please bring that over here. I need it close to me. So he's not kidding when he says this is his baby.
No, that was another fun story about working with Corsair, is that was one of the things, is that very early on, it was like, all right, so the keyboard you sent me, fantastic. You guys obviously make top of the line products. However, something that is core to what I use when gaming is an MMO mouse. And they didn't have one at the time. So we worked together over time to build one that's perfect for MMO gaming and for people like me who have, you know, a ton of keybinds in World of Warcraft. And I play a warrior, and despite what some people might think, we got a lot of buttons. So you gotta manage quite a few things, especially with classic WoW now. There's a bunch of consumables that you have to be able to use. You have to have your stances on point. So the Scimitar is perfect for that. And so we built this mouse together, and it is definitely a work of passion for both Corsair and for me, because this is, you know, the perfect thing for me to use for MMO gaming. But I use this for FPS games and everything, you know. Instead of swapping, you know, your weapons with your keyboard, I just macro them to the mouse, make it easy.
I love that you were involved in the development and creation of this product, and I hope you're not personally offended that I included it in our Newegg's top 5 weirdest gaming mice.
Listen, I'm somebody who is, you know, plays a 15-year-old game as my main game. I stream myself training live on Twitch. I'm a weirdo, okay? So this is definitely, if the mouse is a little unique, it definitely fits a niche, but fits it well, that's okay with me.
Well, I should also say that I am someone that loves weird. I've made a whole career out of being weird myself,
Yes.
so I absolutely love it.
Not a problem.
But yeah, I mean, my biggest concern as someone that has never played with this mouse is that I would map things to buttons and then forget what I've mapped to certain buttons, but you don't have that problem just because of the sheer amount that you play?
Well, you were talking to me about, you were playing Control recently, right? So when you're walking down that dark hallway and an enemy jumps out at you, there's going to be a time where you just instinctively press that button that you've bound it to because you've been getting used to it. I mean, it's going to, and you don't have to be intimidated by like the fact that there's 12 buttons. In the beginning, you just bind like 1, 2, 3. You have this for swapping between your weapons, and you're like, okay, I have some psionic powers, some telekinetic powers that I need. Maybe I'll put those on 4, 5, 6. And you just sort of build your arsenal on the mouse, and you like once you get into it, you're like so into the game at that point. 'Cause you don't have to fiddle around with your keybinds over here. Your movement is on your keyboard. All your buttons and all your actions are on your right hand, your mouse. It's real smooth. You'll feel the immersion.
You know what? I think you've convinced me. I think I need to try it now.
And once again, I know I'm just gonna gush about the Scimitar way too much, but it's
your face is on the box. You're allowed to.
Funny that you mentioned that. Yeah, it actually is. So
it's true. I didn't know that until today. Jackson's face is on the box.
Yeah, we like to go mess.
Very cool.
We like to go see if the Best Buy employees notice. We like walk up like, so what do you think about these testimonials in the back of the box? Look at this nerd. Do you think he really even uses this mouse? And they're like, what are you talking about? So. But yeah, I mean, it's a good mouse on its own. I mean, like the fact that it has all the buttons on the side is one thing, but it's comfortable to use. It's got the right amount of weight. The laser sight on there is super accurate and nice. So it's a solid mouse regardless. But don't be intimidated by those buttons. Step up to the plate.
Okay, and
level up your game.
Add it on slowly.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
And tell me about this headset.
Okay, so this is a new one, the Virtuoso. This is like, if you're looking for an all-in-one broadcast setup that you don't want like an external mic or something like that, this is the one. So the Corsair headsets have always been super comfortable. They've always been super high quality. You can wear it all day, and it's great. The mic on this thing is the best mic on a headset that I've ever had from Corsair. It's fantastic. So they took a huge amount of effort and really improved this. And this is one of those things about Corsair that I love. And it's also kind of like what we're talking about with the mouse, is that they take feedback very seriously. So they're always trying to get better. They're trying to make gains, okay?
Right.
When they're trying to make their products, they're gonna make the best product they can. It's gonna be great, but they're gonna get feedback and they're gonna try to make it better. This is the product of making really good headsets, but always wanting to improve on it, and the mic is fantastic. That's like the biggest thing. If it's comfortable, it's really sound canceling because it's got like those like snug leather
I love
earbuds. It's really lightweight, but it's super durable because it's got like this is aluminum on there. This is not messing around.
Yeah.
So it's sturdy, it's lightweight, and it's comfortable, and the mic is fantastic.
And it looks clean, like it would fit with any aesthetic that you have for your setup, which is awesome.
The RGB is still there, and it's just not super loud. It's just the little Corsair thing right there lights up. So you can still make it fit your setup if you want to, but yeah, it's sleek and it's awesome. But that's what I would say about it. It's perfect for like your all-in-one broadcast setup.
All right, now speaking of Corsair products, Corsair owns Elgato.
Right.
Do you have anything from the Elgato lineup that you use?
Yeah, okay, so my absolute favorite thing about my setup from Elgato is the key lights.
Okay.
They transform your whole setup. I mean, lighting, I thought I had my setup like fairly well lit. I had some lamps, I had some stuff, and it was fine. Once I installed the key lights, it completely transformed what I thought my super old webcam could do. So, I mean, I used the same original webcam that I've used my entire time streaming. So that's an old webcam, and the Elgato lights make it look like, like a super high quality camera, which is awesome.
What'd you say, 9 years? 9 years of streaming?
Yeah, probably, yeah, from the basement days, if my viewers remember that. So
that is an old webcam.
Yeah, it's been around.
You mentioned key lights. How many of the key lights do you use?
I just use two. I have one on the left side, one on the right side.
Great.
And they can like stick onto your desk. You can mount them on like a normal tripod, things like that. So they're super easy to use and super easy to set up. You actually can have your controls for the lights on your phone. They have an app. So
or mapped to your Stream Deck, which I found out when I was working with the Elgato lineup here for a video for Newegg.
Yeah, see, the Stream Deck is an example of one of those things that I actually have not gotten into yet.
Okay.
And for all the alerts and crazy stuff I have on my stream, I feel like it's crazy that I haven't gotten that set up yet. And like you mentioned, you can even control your lights with that. So the possibilities for the Stream Deck are crazy. I think I've even seen pictures of like professional like major television broadcast using the Stream Deck. So that's pretty wild that it can do that. So I need to get into that. And also talking about the key lights, another thing that I need to get set up with is the cam link.
Okay.
Because I have been using that trusty, rusty old webcam for a long, long time, and I love it. However, I think that's kind of one of those things that I could do to upgrade my setup is get that new webcam going.
I almost think of it, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but I almost think of it like a capture card for your camera.
Yeah. Right.
It's just something you feed it right through to your computer, and then it works.
Yeah, Elgato has been super smart about being like, okay, so this is something we can make products specifically for like streamers who need this kind of stuff, and make it really simple, make it really easy to use, and make it work, which is awesome.
Very cool.
And it's funny that you mentioned capture card, because I think I also use an Elgato capture card for when I'm playing like PC games or playing like mobile games or something like that.
Heyo.
Yeah, they've got it hooked up, so I'm really glad that they're working together with Corsair now.
Perfect. Okay, random fun question time. What is the coolest or most amazing thing that you've done or been invited to participate in since becoming a streamer?
My goodness, that is a tough question to narrow down just one, but I think that some of the most meaningful ones are like different charity events that we've been able to do. I mean, we're just talking about Corsair, so we may as well show them some more love.
Okay.
We'd had a really fun event at Corsair HQ where they invited us out with a bunch of other streamers, and we did like a sort of like friendly competition to raise money on both sides.
Okay.
And that was incredible. I mean, I think that like there's like an immortalized clip of me like doing Just Dance or something that my streamers that my viewers always love to link to me again and again. I'm like, thanks guys,
Charity
I was there.
stream classic.
I remember. Look, arms, all right. Whatever this is. This is my favorite one. I like this one a lot. Let's get it in. But there's also been like kind of like more professional things in terms of that meant a lot to me. Like I mentioned, I got to host the World of Warcraft Arena World Championships for like 3 years in a row leading into BlizzCon. And
Awesome.
there's no way I would have been able to do that without, you know, my adventures in content creation around WoW. So doing content creation and taking that first step really has led me to do some really awesome stuff that I'm like tremendously grateful for.
Well, and it's crazy when people say, you know, 10, 15 years ago, would you ever think that you would be doing what you're doing now? The answer is like, no, that would have been insane. Like,
No way.
for me, I played WoW all through college.
Oh, yeah?
And would I have ever, like, as just a kid that played WoW, would I have ever thought, you know, someday I could be in your shoes?
Yeah, it's insane. I mean, like, I remember the moment where I decided that like I was going to start doing YouTube.
Yeah.
It was I was in college, and I was putting a ton of effort into, you know, my studies, and I felt like it was an immense amount of work, time, effort, but I felt like I had more to give, and I felt like my creativity wasn't really being sort of like used in the way that I thought it should.
Sure.
So I remember I had this like exceptional moment of clarity when I like called my mom just to like check in one weekend, and I was like, Mom, I've decided I'm gonna start a YouTube channel, and
I'm sure your mom was like,
and
no.
I'm gonna be playing WoW, and I'm gonna share my experience with that.
Yes.
And that's gonna be what it's about. And she was like, okay, cool, I guess, whatever that means.
Yeah.
But it was like a shining moment, whereas like it was like exceptionally clear that this is what I need to be doing. And for whatever reason, I followed that, and I'm glad that I did, because, you know, I started making videos, and people sort of caught on, and it did exactly what I wanted it to do, which was give me a creative outlet to be silly, to share, you know, something that I was passionate about, which is gaming, but even not gaming content. I mean, I quickly started just doing vlogs as well, where I was like sitting just in front of the camera being like, it's really late at night, and I have to write papers, and papers suck, and frost mages suck. And so like things like that, it was like, and so it sort of shared some of my personality with my viewers, and I could share my personality through the content I was making with gaming, and sharing my personality with just direct vlogging content. And that sort of set the stage for me to be able to share things that I was doing outside of gaming and outside of just sitting down in front of a computer, where I showed like, hey, this is me going to the gym, this is me training, this is something I'm also interested in. Hey, this is this girl that I like, Jenny, you know, this is us hanging out, this is us, you know, moving in together, getting cats, having kids, getting married, all this other stuff. And it's like, it's been a crazy journey so far. We've been able to share all of that with whoever's interested in it.
That's amazing.
It is wild.
And now, how long was it from that moment when you were like, hey, I'm gonna make a YouTube channel and I'm gonna talk about World of Warcraft? How long was it from that point to where you were actually earning enough money to sustain yourself from that income?
Right, I wanna say it wasn't, I got super lucky, I think, in terms of getting the right content at the right time.
It was the early days of YouTube, for sure.
Yeah, because YouTube happened, right? And I saw that, like, obviously playing video games is fun, but I also liked like watching my friends play through games. It was like cool. So I was like, this is something. And I enjoyed, you know, consuming gaming content, even games I didn't play. Like, you know, before I played WoW, I watched a ton of World of Warcraft content. So, and I just thought it was cool. So when I decided to sort of take that jump, I sort of felt like the gaming wave was building. And so I started on YouTube, and then I was that content creator that would go and like respond to every single comment. Whenever I saw, I would like super attentively track my subscribers. And whenever I saw a new subscriber pop up on my list of subscribers, I'd go to their channel. This was back when you could like write on somebody's wall on YouTube, like, hey, thanks for subscribing. Hope you enjoy the videos. Zyvax, you know, he's puts out good stuff, and I like watching his videos. But he's also a really cool guy who's like helping up and coming YouTube people. I almost call myself a YouTube star. Not quite there yet, Baj. Chill out, bro. At the time, there was also platform called Justin TV. So you could interact with your viewers live, so instead of having to write a comment to everybody, you can actually just interact with them live.
Yeah.
And then so I streamed on Justin for a while. That eventually became Twitch. And just in terms of the progression from that, I feel like I started YouTube in like November of 2010.
Okay.
And I think that maybe about a year later is when I think that I was in a position where my parents were moving across the country to California, and I was still in Nashville, Tennessee, where I grew up. And I was at a position where I could either go to California, where we live now, which is awesome, with them, and either continue to live with them, which is not really what I wanted to do, just because I wanted to do my own thing. I didn't want to do my own thing in a place that cost 4 times as much and I was completely unfamiliar with.
Totally.
So what I decided to do was I decided to stay in Nashville, Tennessee. I was working as a lifeguard at the time, which is just like my summer job that just sort of continued on. It's like, okay, sure, you make some money, and buy my own PC and whatever else. So I said to my parents, like, I think I'm gonna stay. And so I moved in with like my friend, and I was living, or at least I was working, in their basement, right? That's the basement days that I mentioned earlier. And my parents were like, okay, you can stay, but here's one rule, is that you cannot quit your day job.
Oh.
And I said, yeah, okay, sure. So.
And your day job was lifeguard at the time?
It was lifeguarding.
Okay.
And as soon as they moved, I put in my 2 weeks. So, because at the time, like, they might not have understood, but I saw the path. I saw that I was growing in this sort of field. It was something that I loved. It was something that I was passionate about. I knew I could do it.
Yeah.
And I was making more money than lifeguarding anyway. So
there you go.
it's kind of hard to argue with that. And my parents were like, okay, you're insane, but we're in California now, so good luck. And fortunately now, many years on the line, they're like super proud of me. They're super excited. And they were always super supportive of me growing up. They would take me to all my practices, anything that I was interested in doing, they had my back. And this was, I think, was like their final challenge of parenthood, of like, not final challenge, obviously, but like, of me being an adult. Like, are they ready to support me in doing something that they're not sure about? And they did. They were like, okay, we'll see what happens. And fortunately, it paid off.
And they get what you're doing now, though.
They do.
Okay, great.
They're excited. I feel like my mom even knows how to sub with Twitch Prime, so that's
Heck
pretty
yeah!
cool. Go mom. She's got like a 6-month sub badge now.
That's amazing. My parents have no idea what I do. Yeah. I've explained it many, many times. They still have many questions. Okay, but let's get into some random questions. Okay. What is your favorite food? I
mean, I'm a good eater. I can comfortably eat just about anything. I think, but my standard diet is just basically like meat, rice, and vegetables. Just like, I don't really require variety right now. I enjoy food, but the way I eat is much more geared around like performance of like, what do I want to do in the gym? Like, what are my goals right now? Like, do I want to gain weight? Do I want to lose weight?
Right.
And whether I'm trying to gain or lose weight, the food selection itself looks pretty similar. It's just, it's just the amount, yeah.
So when you're bulking or cutting, it's still meat, rice, and veggies?
You can eat meat, rice, and veggies and gain weight. You can eat meat, rice, and veggies and lose weight. But you can also cut for competition of bodybuilding on cereal every day, which I did, and won the California Muscle Mania Championship and earned my pro status. But
awesome. I need to watch more of your channel to get those tips. If you have any questions about that, hop by that Twitch chat, type !fat loss, and you're good to go. Love it. What is your most memorable donation or interaction with a viewer?
Oh my goodness. I feel like the chance to meet viewers every year at these conventions like TwitchCon and BlizzCon is the absolute best. And speaking of my parents, I think one of the most fun times was bringing my parents to one of my viewer meetups. And they got to see the line wrapping around and around the YouTube booth way back in the day. So, but yeah, I mean, that's very cool. Meeting my people like in person at these events is like the best thing about it. I mean, obviously you go to see the new announcements at BlizzCon, you go to meet people, and meet your, the people that you work with, like with, Corsair, meet my people from there. But meeting my viewers live in person at these conventions is like the absolute best. And we'll even like schedule like early morning workouts, like at the Hilton Gym,
like a meetup workout?
Yeah.
I love it.
It's so much fun. They're the ones that show up, they got to get up early, so they mean business. So that's a lot of fun. So yeah, meet them in person at conventions is the absolute best. I feel like I do pizza meetups. I feel like, am I on the opposite end of the spectrum? Whatever resonates with your community, I suppose. All right, what's your favorite game besides World of Warcraft? Oh my goodness, probably, this is a throwback, Phantasy Star Online. It was for like GameCube and for Dreamcast and for Xbox. I don't know that game at all. What is that game? It was like one of the, like I didn't ever play it online, but it was like just like an old school action RPG grinder. That's all it was. Run around and kill mobs and get experience and get loot.
Cool.
And it sort of set me up. I mean, I've always been into that kind of game, like ever since like Secret of Mana from like Super Nintendo.
I do remember Secret of Mana.
So you just, I love games like that where you just kill stuff, get stronger, kill stronger stuff, get stronger. That's just kind of just like a grind type game, and that was like the original one for me.
Now, it's interesting to me that you have been streaming for so long through some major life changes. You mentioned dating your now wife, getting married, having a new baby.
He's awesome.
All of those throw curveballs into this like getting in the rut that you're talking about.
Yep.
So my question then to you is, as someone who lives, sleeps, and breathes their job because it's content creation and it's what you're passionate about, how do you then balance that with other life responsibilities?
Yeah, I mean, you have to prioritize. I mean, for me, like, obviously, our new baby boy is top priority. So sometimes, you know, when he's, especially early on, when he's getting up in the middle of the night to eat because he's hungry, I get it. I'll get up in the middle of the night, I'll feed him, and sleep may suffer, which means that training may suffer and recovery may suffer. So the gains might take that sort of back seat, and that's okay. But what I'm gonna do is I'm still gonna sort of, I don't wanna just say go through the motions, but I'm still gonna step up to the plate and do those things. I'm still gonna get up in the morning and train. Even if the training isn't its peak, even if I'm not gonna be making the most progress out of this training phase, you still do it. You still stay in rhythm so that when things do settle down, when he is sleeping through the night, and when I do get, 6 hours of sleep.
You do get some sleep
again. 6 hours of sleep, whoa! Yeah, whenever I do get that, everything else sort of is still in position. I'm still going through the motions. I'm still doing that schedule so that once you sort of fill out with sleep, once you sort of fill out with a more normal, regular groove, then everything starts to sort of blossom again. But what you can't do is you have to sort of assign that priority. Little guy, Archer, has to be first priority. We got to make sure that he's getting what he needs, and everything will sort of fall into place as it does.
I absolutely love it. I feel like in a past life you were a life coach or something like that, because I feel motivated just sitting here having this conversation with you.
Well, good.
Yes. So thank you so much for coming by today and sharing your insight. What should people go to follow along with what you're up to?
Right. So I think my social media is spread across quite a few things. I think we are live every day on Twitch for a combination of the gym streams and the gaming streams. Obviously, I'm hesitant to commit to a schedule because although we are on a really good schedule right now, things can definitely change depending on
how you have a 4-month-old.
Right. So just make sure you follow along at twitch.tv/Bajheera for the live content. YouTube.com/BajheeraWow is my YouTube for the video content. And then Bajheera Wow are also my Instagram and Twitter.
Perfect. And do you have anything new coming up on the horizon that people should keep an eye out for?
I mean, Classic WoW sure has been a lot of fun. We're currently trying to make some gains in the off season for our 2020 competitive season. So right now we're just on the grind and enjoying family life, that's for sure.
Absolutely love it. All right, so thanks to you for being here, obviously, and thanks to you out there for watching. Please make sure that you check out the link in the description below to find a lot of sweet Corsair gaming gear, like a lot of the stuff that we talked about here today in the video. And there will even be some special limited time pricing on headsets, keyboard, mice, and more. So make sure that you check that out. Again, Jackson, thank you so much. This was such a lovely conversation. And come by the Newegg Studios anytime.
Sounds good to me.